We need to talk post-match recap, player ratings for yesterday's atrocity. 4-0. I did actually say 4-0 in a prediction as well, and it was 4-0. Not surprised. It could have been more. We got a lot to talk about today. I'm going to do the player ratings. I'm going to pick up on some of the post-match interviews that Ranić and Bruno did, and the interview that Maguire put out on the day of the game or the day before. Where should we start? I mean, the front three for Liverpool ran riot, and I expected them to, and they did. 4-0 as I predicted. 2 goals each half. But the effort levels just... If that was them trying yesterday, we are terrible. And I mean terrible. It was like watching an FA Cup tie, and we were like Lincoln against Liverpool. Because it might as well have been that. That was not Manchester United or what it should be. I know it's been bad over the last few years, but yesterday, again, it's literally like we've gone out with the white flags in our hands before kickoff. You see Maguire getting off the team bus looking like he knows what's about to happen and that they're into a hiding. You've got Thiago for Liverpool taking the absolute piss during the game, just showboating and doing flicks and stuff and rolling his foot on the ball, and like Richarlison did against us with the headers. So he's taking a piss. And then I saw him once he got subbed off on the bench next to Tsimikas, just laughing. And you can bet that they were pissing about saying, "Did you see what I just did?" Like, absolute shambles yesterday. You've got Rashford up front, not wanting to sprint or break a sweat. I thought Elanga tried and did okay. I thought Sancho was man of the match. Hannibal came on and showed more fight and passion than all of them, coming from a youngster. Why does it take a youngster to come on and show the senior players what they should be doing as a mere standard? Fair play to Hannibal, but I'm scared as well for the youth because they're going to get brought in and get dragged into this shit, and they don't deserve it. Salah gets a goal. I thought that the pass for Salah's goal from Mane was just inch perfect. But the time on the ball they had, the space they had, some of the goals they scored was like they were training goals. Like, it was so easy. And you still get them coming out after the game. Bruno, before I get into the player ratings, I'm going to address some of these interview comments and stuff. Bruno said in the post-match interview, "It's not fair to the fans. We deserve more. They deserve more. We need to show them that." Yeah, you do. But then, do you know what he also said? He let slip. Because he said, "We're not challenging for a title. We're not fighting for anything." Spot on, mate. You ain't fighting for shit. I look at that table and I think, how are we even in the position we're in? We should be bottom half of the league. And he let slip in that interview that we ain't fighting for nothing. Well done, because we all knew it, but you've just come out and admitted it. So maybe you should pack your bags and get gone, because you ain't good enough. That season, last season you had, where's that Bruno gone? Because all I'm seeing is petulance on the pitch. All I'm seeing is, I can't be fucked. All I'm seeing is, I'm throwing my toys out the pram. Ref, give us a decision. It's pathetic. And then they're coming out after the game saying, "Oh, the fans deserve more." Yeah, we do. But we're not getting it, are we? You're saying that... But then, at the end of that same interview... Shut up. At the end of that same interview, he's saying, "We got to continue to compete." But you've just said that we ain't fighting for anything. So what is it? It's an absolute joke. Ranić, fair play to him in the post-match interview, is the honest and most fed up I've seen him since he's been at the club, and I want to see more of this Ranić. I don't agree with the lineup, in the whole of the lineup he picks, and I'll get into that as well. He said the club needs a rebuild, like we know, and he hasn't really been that blunt about it so far. He said it, that we need a rebuild, and about 10 players need to come in. And I love the honesty, and you can tell that he's fed up. He mentioned about Pogba's injury, saying that he's not happy about that at all because we've already got injuries in that midfield position. Now the midfield is bare to the bare minimum bones. He started the interview off as well by saying that it was 2-0 at half-time, and that would have been bad enough for the game. And he felt we played better in the second half, and we did create chances at times. So 2 goals would have been plenty enough to lose the game by. So I thought, oh, we've heard this sort of stuff before. But then it's just like in his brain, he went, fuck this. I'm fed up with this. And he was the most brutal and honest I've seen him. If you haven't seen it, go watch the post-match interview after the game yesterday. Because what he was saying was spot on. We do need a rebuild. It's not good enough. He said it was embarrassing. And he's right. And you can tell that he's gone to the board and they're not doing what he's asking for. He's not getting the players he wants to get. They're not allowing him to do what he wants to do. And I'm thinking as well, I'm getting fed up with some of the players he's picking for the lineups. But now I'm thinking, how much of a say does he actually have in who gets picked? Because I think Fletcher has more of a say than he does, by the looks of it. I loved his honesty yesterday. You can see his frustration on one of the goals that went in. But I do think now, how much of a say does he actually have on some of the players that he picks? Because I don't think he does as much as people think he has. And you can tell by that interview yesterday that he's fed up with the board and how the club is run. And I don't blame the guy, because, like I've said before, as long as these owners are in place and these people in the board positions are in place, it doesn't matter what manager we get in, because they're going to be restricted and they're not going to have free roam and free reins over players they want to get brought in and how the club is run. Maguire did an interview the other day saying that it's not good enough this year. He looks at himself in the mirror and, on a personal account, and it's not good enough. But as a team, they're conceding. The balance between attack and defence they've got wrong this year. No fucking shit. No shit. But he also said he's been picked by 2 managers now to start most of these games that they've played, saying that he must be doing something right because he's getting picked a lot. You're an embarrassment, mate. You're not a captain. You can't lead. You look like a deer in headlights. You're getting off the team coach yesterday before the game starts, looking like you know what's coming, and you're in for a hiding. And then it gets proven. But then you're putting out shitty Instagram posts of crossfield passes you're playing to people, like you're fucking Beckenbauer. You're not. You're absolute dog shit. It's embarrassing. Why is Ronaldo going to listen to you? Tell me. Why is De Gea going to listen to you? Tell me. You don't go and celebrate with Ronaldo the other day after he gets the hat-trick, when the rest of the team do, other than De Gea, because he's in goal. You walk off. What does that say? And yet, he thinks he's fucking good enough to play sweeper role when he can't. He ain't got the pace. I've seen gravestones with more pace than him. It takes him a lifetime to fucking decide on who he's going to give the ball to and try and play a pass out. And he gets caught out of position so much. And he can't get back because he's so slow. His sponsor should be fucking lead. Lead boots. That should be his sponsor. Because he's fucking shit. And he needs to be gone. I don't know why he continues to get picked, regardless of being captain. Strip him. He ain't good enough. He's absolute shit. And he's an embarrassment to the club. Him putting out them interviews, absolute joke. Because you can say all that, but then you don't go and prove it on the pitch. Because in the interview, he's saying we got to continue to fight. We got to raise the levels and the standards. Yeah, you have, but you don't, do you? So it's all just empty promises and words. Absolute drivel. So I wanted to address that. The whole Bruno thing, the Maguire thing, and the Ranić, the interviews, and because they're all coming out with it, but nothing changes, does it? Same results, same shitty performances, same lack of effort, same... They don't look like they want to be there. Well, fuck off then. We'd be better off with a youth in there. We actually would. Look at what Hannibal did when he came on yesterday. Just the fight in him. He demanded the ball. He was aggressive. When you're taking a young lad like that and he's having to set examples for these senior players, it's a fucking joke. It's an absolute joke. 4-0 was what I predicted. But they just exceed expectations in terms of how crap they are. All the time. It's not good enough. It's not good enough. Player ratings, De Gea, 3. I think yesterday he had a poor game. I think his distribution was worse than it usually is, and it's not great usually. And I think some of the goals he could maybe get a bit closer to, but I don't think he was worse than the defence. But I've got him on the same level par as some of them. But I do think that his distribution yesterday was poor. So I think De Gea had a poor game yesterday. Free. Aaron Wan-Bissaka, free. Offers nothing going forward. Got caught out in space. Jogs about too much for me, Aaron Wan-Bissaka as well. Just poor. Lindelof, free. I thought he was poor again yesterday. I like Lindelof, but again yesterday I can't ignore that he was poor. Caught out of position several times. The Mane set up for Salah, I think he could maybe get a bit closer to Mane before he passes it. But then it goes over Maguire and Dalot. So Maguire and Dalot are more at fault for the Salah goal for me than Lindelof. But the reaction times for all of them is shocking. Free for Lindelof. Jones, I actually think, did okay. I saw him do one mistake at one point where he had the ball and just sort of lost it. But I don't think he was great, but I think he was better than Lindelof and Maguire and Dalot and Aaron Wan-Bissaka. Only a little bit, but I think he was the best of the defence, Jones, which is another shocking thing as well, because it's the second game he's played in how many years? And he's putting a better performance in than most of them that are getting more game time and should be sharper. Maguire, 1. He's so slow. I think it's the first goal he gets caught out, as well as Dalot. But it's him that is the major point in that goal, because he comes out of position near the halfway point and they counter and go in behind and he can't get back. You see him trying to get back. Lead boots. Sponsored by Lead. Like, shocking. And that's our captain. He's shit. And I don't get it. I don't get why he's at the club. I don't get why he's captain. I don't get why he gets picked. 1, Maguire. And I want him gone. Dalot, 2. I like Dalot, but I thought he was poor yesterday. He continuously give the ball up under pressure and not under pressure. Poor distribution from him. Attacking, I thought he didn't offer anything yesterday, and defensively he got caught out a lot as well. Got switched at half-time, the wing-back positions between him and Aaron Wan-Bissaka. I don't get why they switched them. Started Aaron Wan-Bissaka on the right for the first half. Second half, he switched him to the left and put Dalot on the right. If you're going to switch him, just bring Tellez on. I don't understand what that was about. But I thought Dalot yesterday was poor. 2. Matic, 4. He just got ran over in the midfield. I don't think he was terrible, but he didn't have the legs to chase people down. Wasn't great on the ball either, but they just bypassed him too easily because he couldn't get near him. So I didn't think he affected the game. 4. Pogba obviously goes off early with an injury. And I think a lot of that is he don't want to be at the club anymore. I'm not saying he didn't get injured, but I'm saying that if that's France or he's at a different club, he plays on and he plays through the pain. But because his contract's up and he don't want to be here, I think that speaks volumes. You see him on the bench throughout the game, looking miserable and fucked off. You can tell he don't want to be here. And I think part of that injury yesterday was him thinking, I'm not playing. I don't want to play, I can't be fucked. Because we were already I think we were 1-0 down at that point when he came off, so... 4 for Pogba. I don't think he did anything when he was on, really. So 4. Alanga, 4. I thought he tried. Massive game for a young player like that, but I think his effort off the ball was good. But on the ball, he had a few little moments here and there, 1-2s, things like that, but I don't think it was great, but he definitely wasn't one of the worst. So a 4 for Alanga. Rashford, a 2. He had 2 opportunities where he should do better, I think, again. One where I think Bruno put him through just to keep it to beat and he fluffed it. His effort off the ball is literally walking or jogging, no sprinting. And his shooting was shit. He really should be doing better with the chances he had. And his decision making is terrible and his body language is terrible as well. He's not good enough. And he should score, I think, as well. So Bruno, 2. Petulance. Could have had an assist for the Rashford chance, I'll admit, but other than that, shit. Like, giving the ball up again a lot, not wanting to put a lot of effort in, I don't think, moaning to the ref a lot, not playing to the whistle, poor. Says in the post-match that the fans deserve more and that. Where's Maguire with the interview after? Where's he coming to face the cameras after admitting it? It's all very well saying you look at the mirror and you look at yourself in the mirror a lot on a personal thing, in a pre-match thing, but then the post-match when it goes wrong, where is he? You got Bruno coming out saying the fans deserve more. Yeah, we do, but you're not showing it, are you? It's all very well saying it, but then you go and put a continued performance every game of the same shit. You might as well not come out and do an interview, mate. 2 for Bruno. Ranić, I'd give him a 3 because we went with a back 5, but it's more like a back 8, really, 7 or 8, when the amount of players we have behind the ball. You've done that for more defensive side, so we don't concede as much and we're in the game and can counter more. We did none of that. And we might as well have just gone more attacking because we would have lost by a lot of goals anyway. We went with a defensive system and still shipped 4 goals. So, tactically, he got it wrong. We're never going to go there and win, but you might as well have gone more attacking because he's gone super defensive and we've still conceded 4 goals. I think he got that wrong. Options in terms of injuries, he didn't have a lot to go with. So, I'll give him that in his defence, but the tactical side of it and how he set up was wrong, so I'd give him a 3. And it was just embarrassing because against one of our main rivals, I can accept us losing, but not how we lose, and that's the problem. So a 3 for Ranić. Lingard and Sancho, I'll give Lingard a 4. Come on for Pogba. Showed a lot of energy and passion, if you like, but he ain't good enough. Like, we're not seeing that same player that played for West Ham, even when he's on the ball. So, I like Jesse, but it's clear that he doesn't want to be there anymore. You could argue whether he should have played, but again, options when Pogba goes off, who we got on the bench? Unless you're going to bring Mata on, which probably should be playing as well. Hannibal, come on, I'll give him an average. You could maybe give him a slight above average. Give him an average in the sense that one of the goals he's kind of at fault for, but I think it's more on Maguire because of the ball he plays to Hannibal. I don't think it's on Hannibal as much as Maguire for the pass. But maybe you could do a little bit better in that and giving the ball up. But he's very young. He showed more passion than any of them when he came on. And he demanded the ball a lot. And he's one of them players that will demand the ball even if he makes a mistake, and I like that. And I think he did more than most of them. I'd give him an average of a 5. And Sancho, I'd give him a 5. He showed glimpses in the game of positivity, a few shots. He tried to take his man on a few times. Tricky, quick feet. And I think he was man of the match for me, Sancho. So, fair play to Jadon. I don't think he was exceptional, but he was one of the few bright lights in that game for me, Sancho. So, Sancho, I'd give him a 5, and also Hannibal as well. But I would give Sancho a man of the match. I predicted 4-0, and that's what it was. This club has got huge problems. I'm seeing people get excited by Ten Hag coming in, and I want to get excited by it, but what's going to change? Because for him to put his philosophy and tactics in, them players ain't good enough to do it. So first of all, you need to get most of that playing squad out of the club, gone, and either bring youth in or bring new transfers in. There's no good him coming in and trying teach his philosophy and tactics, because them players ain't good enough to do it. We've seen it already with Ranić. They can't do it. So people can get excited about Ten Hag, but until the recruitment gets sorted and we're allowed to bring in the players we want to bring in, and you get the scouting right, and you get these utter shit show clowns out of the club that can't do the performances and play at the level we need them to, it's not going to change. And people need to realise that. I'm not saying you shouldn't get excited, but you're going to look stupid because you're getting excited when them players ain't good enough to do what Ten Hag's going to want to do. So, them players need to be gone, and we need to start bringing more youth in. We need to get better scouting, and we need to have better recruitment, like the likes of Liverpool, like the likes of City, even Chelsea. And before I go as well, Ranić said something yesterday that we're all probably aware of, but once your manager says it, it puts it out even more in the world and the wider scheme of things and under the magnifying glass even more. He said, and this he didn't even mention Chelsea or City, this is just Liverpool, let alone the other two. He said, we are 6 years behind Liverpool. Why are we 6 years behind Liverpool? They're a club that's got a historic history like we have, and you could argue that we're supposed to be bigger than them, but they're 6 years ahead of us. And that's without City, and that's without Chelsea as well. Just Liverpool alone, 6 years behind. That is unacceptable. And we know that we're years behind, but when your manager comes out and says that, it just, you're like, wow. And I love him for it, because he was brutally honest yesterday, and I want to see more of it, because this club is run like a fucking circus. It's like a soap opera. And I loved his honesty yesterday, and I hope he does it more, because it needs to be said and it needs to be put out there. Because you don't get enough of the pundits doing it on the TV, the ex-players and that. You don't get enough of it to the level that you need it to be at, like he was yesterday. 6 years behind Liverpool, let alone City, let alone Chelsea, just Liverpool. 6 years behind. And with Manchester United, this club has sunk more than the Titanic. These players ain't good enough. It don't matter what manager we get in and what philosophy they want to bring in. It ain't going to work, because these players are shit. They ain't good enough. And I feel sorry for the fans. I feel sorry for us, because we want to continue to support. We want to buy shirts. We want to get... Like, I don't go to the matches because I'm too far away from the club. And the prices are crazy. And also, the fans that are paying prices for the tickets, you're not even getting your money's worth when you go to the games. I feel sorry for you. I went to Old Trafford once when I was a kid, and that was because my dad got tickets, so I was lucky to go. And I can say I've been. Because it's still hard to get tickets for there if you're not around the local area. I'd love to go more, but not at the moment. I wouldn't want to go all them miles and go and see that shit performance. And clowns on the pitch. You might as well have 11 Krusty the Clowns out there. Ronald McDonald's. Maguire should take up the new sponsorship for McDonald's and be the new Ronald McDonald. He'd do a fantastic job with his lead boots. Shocking performance. I'm not surprised. This club... How are we meant to go and get kits and stuff? Like, I know people do still, and I want to get kits, like retro kits. But I'm going to get retro tops, because... although, I want to get the United one, the blue one. It's reduced a lot. But then you feel... Fuck me, how am I going to wear this with pride and confidence when they're playing like that out on the pitch? Because it gets associated with the players at the time that wear that shirt. At least with the retro ones, you can have pride and know that we won stuff and had the right philosophy and mentality and players that give 100% but also had the talent to back it up. And it weren't just empty promises and words in interviews. They would go and do it on the pitch. It's leaving us fans in no man's land. And I applaud the fans that go to the stadium and put up with this shit, but I also feel sorry for you. And I think whilst you continue to do that, it's also just allowing that shit to keep happening, because they don't care. They're still getting their wages. They're still getting all the merchandise sales and into their wages from you buying shit about them and endorsing their products and everything. They don't deserve it, and you don't deserve to be treated like mugs, but you're allowing it as well. Let me know your thoughts in the comments, guys, and your thoughts on yesterday. It was just dreadful, and this club just continues to embarrass us more and more. We think they can't get worse, and then they do. Let me know your thoughts in the comments, guys, and I'll be back soon.